Welcome back to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. I am Connor Williams and we are back with another 24/7 news report. We start our 24/7 news report with our headline news, and our headline news today is that Eddie Howe is pushing hard for the vacant role as manager at Everton. This has come from the Daily Express. Of course he is. Of course he's pushing for it. This would be his first job since he got relegated with Bournemouth. We'd probably give him a hefty wage, to be completely honest with you. We've got the money to give him to back him in the transfer window. And as far as former managers go, if you're sacked, you normally end up with quite a nice little compo as well. So of course he would. It's his first, and it's also his first job since relegated with Bournemouth, and it'd be for a club of our stature who want to push for a top six and have the finances and a new stadium to try and push for that. So I think he'd be quite landed on his feet with the job, to be completely honest. So I'm not surprised he's pushing for it. Whether it'll happen, I don't know. Apparently he's more Kenwright's option. I don't know if Farhad Majiri sees this as an option. He wants the Hollywood managers, the Hollywood signings. He chased after Angelotti for all those years. Finally got his Hollywood manager. That's sadly not gone to plan, as we all well know. And I don't think Farhad Majiri looks at Eddie Howe and goes, "You're the one who's going to be the predecessor to my Hollywood, manager." I think if anything, Farhad Majiri will want another Hollywood manager. I mean, they are not exactly coming and going, quite freely at the minute. So we'll have to see who we actually get. But I can't see Farhad Majiri being a massive fan of Eddie Howe. Obviously, it's not just down to those two. It's the board of directors, and apparently Marcel Brands is having a major influence with it. So we'll have to see who we get on this one. Speaking of Bill Kenwright, we also have news that he would preferably want David Moyes or Roberto Martinez back at the club. This has come from Duncan Castles on the Transfer Podcast. Again, David Moyes, I think his time at the club, I think Kenwright's a good friend of his, and I think they've got a great working relationship. Kenwright did want Moyes and was rumoured with Moyes when we sacked, Silva. And before Angelotti came in. So this is obviously why David Moyes' name keeps getting thrown into the hat every time we have a new manager, because obviously Kenwright is quite close with him. I mean, he did well for us, and obviously a lot of Everton fans of a certain age, myself included, are fondest memories of David Moyes' Everton. Take that how you will. But no, so obviously, he did well, and he was a long-serving manager, but I think we've got to move forwards, not backwards. Same with Roberto Martinez. I really liked him in his first season with us. We played some really great football. It sort of fell away. He has been at Belgium now, and he's probably learned and matured as a manager. But I'd be a hypocrite to then go, let's get him in, because I really do like him and I would like him. But I'd be a hypocrite one night to say, let's go for Martinez. Also, it's a gamble. National team is not the same as club. And again, I think we need to move forward in a better direction and try something a bit new. I think going over old ground is probably going to end in the same results. But that's just my opinion. You guys will let me know in the comments section below if you agree, disagree, and who you would want as manager. We also have the news that Dominic Calvert-Lewin has been speaking to the Mirror about Angelotti's departure. The forward has told the Mirror it's come as a shock. I don't think anybody expected it, but you have to move forward. I haven't spoken to anybody at the club, apart from the Everton lads with England, but we all felt the same. It's a big surprise. So obviously Calvert-Lewin, Ben Godfrey and Jordan Pickford share the same response as the fans, us, me, you, everybody, the board, I think, and the owners, that it was a massive surprise. I think the only person who did see it coming is Carlo Angelotti, because like we reported earlier on in the week, apparently he knew Zidane was coming out of a job before Zidane and the media did. So, I think that's the only person that's not surprised by the news. Calvert-Lewin has also been speaking to L'Equipe about his future with Everton. The forward said, "I am happy at Everton. I've worked hard to become a number 9 to the club and score goals like I've done recently. I have the ambition to one day play in the Champions League and win titles. But for now, I'm happy at Everton." I mean, this, I don't see anything personally wrong with. It's a young player who's showing some ambition, and that's what you want from young players. I just hope that he does that with us rather than with somebody else. Obviously, there's rumours we might lose Richarlison this summer, which would be a shame. So we want to keep some of our big stars. And I don't see, the board want it. We've got the new stadium. The owners want it. The players should want it. I don't see why, he can't try to achieve these things with Everton. I'm not saying, but he can try. And that's what we as fans want. We want that sort of, pushing for Europe, pushing for the elite. So, you know what I mean? I think he could do that with us, and I hope he does do that with us rather than leave somebody to go to somebody else. Speaking of Everton forwards, Cenk Tosun's also been speaking about Angelotti's departure. The Turkish forward has said, Angelotti's left and a new era will begin. After my recovery, I think I can still do well at Everton. I mean, this again, I have Cenk Tosun down as one of the people I would look to move on from the club. I don't think he quite cuts the mustard. You've got Moyes Keane, who looks to be going out as well. I think it's about time we start flushing out players of managers of years ago. Like, some players in this squad have been here and saw out 3-4 managers. Obviously, Cenk Tosun was a Sam Allardyce signing. So, I would look to push him out, especially depending on who the new manager is. He might not think Cenk Tosun's got a future at the club. If Besiktas wanted him, I think Tosun would be happy to go back to Besiktas again. I think if they can afford it, or they accept, they can offer a good enough price for Everton, I think that's best for all parties. But we'll have to wait and see if that actually happens. Duncan Castles, again, has said on the Transfer podcast that Nuno is eyeing up his first transfer if he was to get the Everton job. Castles said, Everton's finances aren't great, and this kind of plays into what Nuno wants from Everton, which is the degree of spending he'll be allowed to do to the squad and the changes he'll be allowed to make to the squad should they offer him the job. I mean, I don't know about this. He says that Everton's finances aren't great, but I read before Angelotti's departure we were ready to really back Angelotti, throw a lot of money at him in his signings. And we will get onto it later on, but it contrasts further stuff down the line. But Castles didn't stop there. He also added, one individual who's important here is Pedro Neto. Nuno would like to take him to Everton in an ideal world. Everton have been interested in Neto for some time, and he is available this summer as one of the number of players that Wolves are looking to put out on the market in an attempt to raise cash to reinvest in a team that Bruno Lage will take over. I mean, firstly, I'm surprised Neto is one of the players Wolves are going to get rid of. I've also heard apparently Ruben Neves could go. He wouldn't be a player I wouldn't mind taking from Wolves as well. These are two good players that I'm surprised they're getting rid of. I think they're players you build the team round instead of looking to ship off. But yeah, Neto looks to be a very promising player. I'd happily have him at us. It's interesting though, because I don't know. He says that Wolves are willing to sell. He doesn't mention how much Wolves are willing to sell, so he doesn't mention how bad Everton's finances are or give any indication to it. We have got the Football Insider as well that says that the Hammers are confident that David Moyes is going to sign a new contract with the club. Apparently, during the negotiations for the long-term contract, there was a hurdle, which was the form of the Everton job coming available. Again, I'm not surprised if that did turn David Moyes' head. Like I said, he's got a great working relationship with Ken Wright. He has fond memories of the club. I wouldn't be surprised if his head did turn a bit, Before Angelotti, apparently, he really did want the job. And then he didn't get it, and he was a bit devastated, supposedly. So I'm not surprised, that his head did turn, but the Hammers seem pretty confident he'll sign. I think that's best for all parties. He's done really well at West Ham and deserves that contract. I think Everton needs to look forward better than backwards. So this could be the best scenario for all parties. He does deserve this contract at West Ham. We also have the news that Seamus Coleman has been injured with the Republic of Ireland. Apparently the right back came into the camp with a hamstring injury, and he will return home ahead of the Hungary trip. This return home is reported to be just a precaution, as he wasn't going to get fit in time for the fixture, so he might as well return home if he's not going to be able to play. So that sounds like it's nothing too serious for Seamus, and it sounds like he'll be, a couple of weeks and he'll be fine again. Next, we have the news that Everton are linked with Joaquin Correa. According to Corriere dello Sport, the Blues are planning a €30 million move for the Lazio forward. Apparently Everton do face competition in the form of West Ham. Again, this is one of those ones, 30 million is a lot of money, and that kind of contradicts what Duncan Castles has said, but this is the media, managers, transfer window, rumours start flying. These are all, I think you should always take these with a pinch of salt. I think out of like the 100 of transfer or rumours that you get this time of year, at least one sticks normally. So take everything with a pinch of salt at this point of the year. But he's a good player. I think he could do very well at us. He's 26. He'd offer a bit of pace up front, and he would match well. I think he can play a number of positions. He can play striker, centre forward, and I think he can play anywhere behind the striker. So obviously, him linking up with Dominic Calvert-Lewin, depending on who the new manager is, could be, if he plays a 4-4-2, that could work. We also have some more transfer rumours. This is our final news, and it is that Everton are linked with Miralem Pjanic. According to Spanish news outlet Vacant, Pjanic is set to leave the new camp after one season. The report says Everton are interested and are planning a €35 million bid for the player. Personally, I don't know about this. Like I've just mentioned, Ruben Neves, who could be leaving Wolves. I'd rather we go for Neves. He's younger. He's got a lot of talent. Pjanic is getting to the later years of his career. I don't want us to be his last big paycheck before he, goes out into the distance. And I think we need to be careful with that type of player. He's a great passer of the ball, but he's not the fastest and most energetic in midfield. And I think we've got enough of that type of player at Everton, personally. So I would, try and get someone who's a bit younger, got a bit of leg behind him. Ruben Neves, like I said, can pass the ball well, but he's also got, some energy and some legs behind him. But we'll have to wait and see. But again, 35 million is a lot of money. That's what I mean. It's a lot of contradiction there, but we'll have to wait and see on that. But that is all we've got time for today in this 24/7 news. Don't forget to like, share, subscribe, and comment down below on any of the things we've discussed today. Would you take Pedro Neto? Would you take Nuno if you bought Pedro Neto with him, more importantly? What are your thoughts on Ken Wright wanting Martinez and Majiri and David Moyes? What are your thoughts on Eddie Howe pushing for the job? Would you like Eddie Howe? I know I personally said no, but would any of you out there like him? Again, let us know who you want as manager, because this will continue for quite a while. And let me know your thoughts on Joaquin Correa, Miralem Pjanic. Do you think we should go for them? Do you think we should push for somebody else? If so, give us your transfer targets below as well. Let us know who you're thinking we should sign. But yeah, that's everything from me. You can follow me and the Toffee Blues on Twitter. Our handles will be in the description as always. And take care.